Welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast, adding games both new and old to your backlog, one slightly inappropriate episode at a time. My name is Christian, and you can't hear, but I'm really itchy. Joining me today is Bobby.
I've got 99 problems, but an itch ain't one.
And Amanda.
Hit me?
I don't know. Okay, this week we're going to be talking about itch.io, the site to buy indie tabletop and video games, and where some of the best ideas in gaming are tried and tested before moving to more mainstream platforms like Steam or the Xbox Store. So we're going to be talking about that. But first, Amanda, wait, you're not the regular Amanda. Who are you? What's going on?
Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda. I stream video games on Twitch under the name Pando. Well, my Twitch is Pando-ish, and I'm Pando. Right. So almost everyone calls me Pando, which is really weird. Like, even in my real life, everyone calls me Pando. But when I get called by Amanda by maybe ex-coworkers or people I work with, that's, more unusual than actually getting called
so on the
Pando
street,
anymore.
You hear Pando and you're like,
that's
head
me.
Switches.
I am Pando.
That's you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, I'm here. I really love JRPGs. I guess that's kind of what I focus on my Twitch, though I am obsessed with video games just in general. And it's why I, pursued a career in games. So I also work at your old stomping ground. That's how you know me.
Yeah. So Bobby, this is a bird walk before the show. We'll get to itch, but Bobby started a little trend where he started referring to himself on Steam and Discord as Robert. And at first we all made fun of him. We're like, who's this guy? This goofhead. And then one by one, we started to change our names on those platforms. Like, I'm Christian now on Discord and a little bit of a trendsetter. So, but it's normal for you. Like, when you go out and about, people do know you from your stream, and Pando is completely an acceptable way to call you.
Yeah. I mean, like, even my mom calls me Pando. My sister calls me Pando. My partner calls me Pando. Like, it's because that was my nickname at home before I started Twitch, Like, I was Amanda rhymes with Panda. And then, you as life goes on, you convert nicknames more and more. So Panda morphed into Pando. And when we were thinking of creating it, I didn't want numbers in my Twitch name. So I was like, what's something that's Pando-ish? And then we just were like, let's go Pando-ish. It's nice.
That's great. Wait, that's a great story. And take that, Bobby, by the way. You boring ass. No.
We're all switching our screen names back.
Yeah. Sniper, no sniping. Okay. So, we have bumpers, guys. That's how you know we're moving into the history of itch.io. So I thought I would start with the history, a fun little multiple choice game. And Amanda and Bobby, you will have to settle on an answer between you guys. So you can debate or flip a coin, however you want to do this. So Itch started in 2012 when an American hobbyist programmer named, and these are the selections, Leaf, Cochran, Ada Lovelace, Maddie Thorson, or Jordan Meshner. Which one of these people started Itch, do you guys think?
I feel like it's number 4, but I don't know. Maybe because that's the only name that seems normal to me.
Yeah, I wonder if it was. Can you just repeat them and maybe not like put the weird spaces between the front and last names? Or was there was there 2 names? Like, is that their first and last names, or
it's
was
their
that
first and last names? Yep,
okay,
first and last names. Yeah.
Maybe just say it. Like,
okay, Leaf Cochran, Ada Lovelace, Maddie Thorson, and Jordan Mechner.
Okay. It makes more sense in my brain now.
Okay.
Let's go with 4 makes sense to me. But I'm kind of leaning towards Leaf as well.
I'd like to believe there's a person out there with the name Leaf.
Is it kind of like Leif? Like, is it like a Scandinavian name?
Unfortunately, it is spelled, unfortunately, fortunately, whatever side of this debate you land on, it is Leaf, leaf, like all the trees.
I'm gonna go with Jordan in that case. I just pictured Leif. Yeah.
Okay. Amanda and Bobby have locked Jordan, and it was Blah, 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 blah. It was Leif Cochran started Twitch in 2012. But
I felt like there was something there.
he was speaking to both. Go with your intuition on these ones, guys. You might be right. But I do have a little bit of who the rest of these people are because they are not famous, but they are all, developers who have contributed to our love of games. So Ada Lovelace, or Augusta Ada King, was the Countess of Lovelace, an English mathematician in the early 1800s that worked on something called the analytical engine, which was the first proposed digital computer. So that's where she comes from.
I thought her name's Ada.
Ada. I've never met her. Ada or Ada. I don't know.
Okay. I've always heard of Ada Lovelace. So
this is my
Loveless.
fault. I see how this is coming. Okay. Maddie Thorson is one of the lead creators for Towerfall and Celeste. And also, Amanda, this is interesting for me and you, also randomly went to Grand Prairie Regional College in Alberta, which is the province me and Amanda live in. What the heck?
Crazy.
As a cool little tie-in, I thought that Motley Crue lived in Grand Prairie growing up because my town's radio station, my town's radio station, the rock channel was like, and Grand Prairie hits. So I thought everyone that I heard on the radio station, like Motley Crue, Led Zeppelin, all the rock hits, they lived in Grand Prairie, 2 hours from me. And I believed that till I was like 11 or 12, dude, like way too late. So, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yes, a little embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. And Jordan Mechner is the maker of the original Prince of Persia, and I guess kind of famous for this using rotoscoping where actors were shot on film and then he hand drew over the animations in the first Prince of Persia. I thought that was pretty neat.
I love rotoscoping.
Yeah. So you're getting learned today, folks. So having nowhere to distribute his games, and he didn't like that Steam Greenlight. He didn't like that Steam Greenlight relied on community voting, a random lottery system, Gabe Newell picking a game from a jar on his yacht, or that users had to donate money to fund the project on Steam. So what did Leif not like about Steam Greenlight? That was a long time ago. That was around 2012, that Steam and Greenlight. What do you guys think?
I'm trying to remember Steam Greenlight. I think it was community voting, right? Am I?
Yeah, I remember all too well. It was definitely community voting, and it did not work out very well for Steam Greenlight. That system did not work.
Okay, and of course you guys are right. Steam Greenlight relied on community voting, although I've heard internally at Valve that the Gabe Newell picking the game from his yacht thing, that was a close second idea. But yeah, so it started because of Steam's Greenlight, which is kind of a neat tie-in of why we have it today. And if Steam hadn't have done that, if it had always been a fairly open storefront where you have to just pay $100 to get your game on Steam, we likely wouldn't have had Itch. So one of those fun history what ifs, guys. Okay. All right.
Quick aside. I actually met Gabe Newell, and he is deeply terrifying.
What context did you meet him in? Like a back alley?
I was working at E3. I was working at E3, and he was walking the show floor pre-booth being opened, and he came over and he like sternly looked at what we were talking about, like what we were going to be showing, and he like had like his like retainers around him.
Right.
And he just kind of like folded his arms and he was like, He walked away.
I'll consider picking this out of the jar on my yacht later.
Yeah,
that's fun.
It was a peripheral we were showing, but
okay.
Yeah, he was a very intimidating figure.
Oh, interesting. Mm-hmm. I imagine him being really tall. Is that true?
Yeah, he's a large presence.
Okay, cool. Continuing on, so the quest to make a more open and free market for indie games came about with Itch, which is probably the biggest legacy that Steam Greenlight has left behind. And so for a long time, Itch existed in relative obscurity until a game jam in 2014 based on, these are the answers, Flappy Bird, Pac-Man, Beer Pong, or multiple choice questions. What do you think?
I think this is Flappy Bird.
Okay.
That lines up chronologically, right? Flappy Bird was about 2014.
I think I remember the Flappy Bird game jam. I think like it's scratching an itch in the back of my brain.
Okay, and you guys are right. It was the Flappy Bird game jam after the app was pulled from the App Store, after the developer was like, Flappy Bird is ruining the world. And like, bro, what a humble opinion to take. Also, so many worse people are out there selling way more addictive things and games and substances. So
I thought he also thought it was ruining his life.
Oh, was it a personal thing as well? Okay.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I can't with you people. I'm taking this off and I'm going away into obscurity. Never talk to me again.
I've made my Flappy money. Now flap off. Okay, cool. Okay. After this event, Itch had an upwards trajectory and became the place to publish small indie games and a place for other hobbyists to hang out. It has a unique payment system that allows developers to set a minimum price for their games, and also a pay what you want system for customers, a play now, pay later system for customers, a pay what you want system for customers and developers, or a pay too much now, get a credit back on your debit card that takes 2 weeks to show up but wasn't in time to pay rent, so now you have to move back with your parents and your mom makes the worst meatballs system. So what of those for?
I'm pretty sure meatballs are directly written into the contracts, so...
Yeah, so that's covered.
So it's obviously that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually the longest answer is the correct one. Here's something crazy. I've never bought anything off of itch.io, so right. I may not be qualified to answer this. I know there's definitely a pay what you want system for customers. I don't know about developers though.
So I have bought stuff from itch.io, and I know like it's supposed to be the de facto, like the one that's really nice to customer or to developers, like except it's just kind of obscure. So also, you know, lots of the not safe for work stuff used to be the itch's backbone.
Yeah.
I don't. What's the ones that were not had contained meatballs?
Pay what you want system for customers and developers, a play now, pay later system for customers, or a pay what you want system just for customers.
Number 3, I think.
Yeah. Boberta?
All right, I'll go with 3.
All right. And it is 3. So developers can set a minimum price for the games, but buyers can also choose to pay extra. There's like a tipping option, if you will. And since 2015, itch.io has let developers dictate how much revenue that Itch receives from its games. So they set the rev share with Itch as well. It's at 10% by default, but that's well below 30%. But the developers can also change it right to 0%. So they have that freedom there. A little bit of an honor system going on at Itch. So how'd you guys like your little learning sesh? Was it okay?
Yeah, it was totally okay.
That's funny. And a little bit of we used to have someone who did this podcast named Emilio, and he liked to tell this story that Bobby famously loves spending money on his favorite games and developers and has played 300 hours of or more. Bobby, how many hours do you have in Deep Rock Galactic? I don't even want to put hours in your mouth.
Oh, that's got to be like 800.
800. Yeah. And they came out with
Rock and Stone. Is that what you say? Rock and Stone.
That's it.
I've never played Deep Rock Galactic a day in my life.
Wow. He has the tattoo on his lower back, Rock and Stone. But they came out with a supporter pack just to support the developers. I think you got some cosmetics. And Bobby waited till that supporter pack was on sale to make the final purchase. So that's how much he likes spending money.
I love a deal. What can I say?
Can't say no to a deal. Yeah. Who can? Okay. But we also played some things on Itch, on our Itch deep dive. Bobby, start us off. What did you end up getting into on this wonderful website?
Well, I played a couple of games this week, and I was going to pick the best one and talk about it, and that changed last minute because the other day I checked out Roulette Night, and this is a game that came from a game jam called Ludum Dare 41. And the whole point of this game jam was to combine two incompatible genres. And the two genres this game combines is Russian roulette and an RPG. How could you possibly make a game out of those two genres? Somebody did it, and they called it Roulette Night. This game is basically just a night playing Russian roulette, and you get XP and gold for not shooting yourself in the head. It's that simple.
Wow.
But it's got all these things you can like all these different dials you can turn, basically. You can load more bullets, you can buy items, you can they got a perk system where you can get abilities, and basically it's all about increasing the chances you can get shot, but offsetting that with other stuff, like increasing your evade or misfire chance. So it's like a really simple game, like most of these games on Itch are. These are all, for the most part, pretty short games with like a singular idea. They aren't going to take up a whole lot of time, but they are really fun for a little while. So I really enjoyed this game. Like, out of all the ones I played, this is the one I got hooked on the most. And it just got me thinking about how when you have these constraints, they talk about this in film all the time too. Like, when you have these constraints, that forces you to become more creative. So in a game jam, that is like a self-imposed constraint. They say you can pick two genres that have nothing to do with each other, and you have to come up with something like that. From that difficulty, you get very creative and you come up with Roulette Night. But there's also just like a lot of developers on Itch that they don't have a lot of experience, they don't have a lot of money, they don't have a lot of resources, but that forces them to make up for all that with a lot of creativity. And that's when you can find some really cool stuff there. And I definitely, even aside from Roulette Night, I ran into some very interesting games on Twitch. You can sort it just by like the most popular, just see what other people are playing. And I noticed just in conversation this week, Christian, you and I played the same game, Pet Sitting. I don't think we've got it on the notes, but I want to give a shout out to that weird game.
Amanda, did you play Pet Sitting by any chance?
No, I think I looked at that screenshot and I was like, I think I'm good. Okay,
so yeah, let's get into it a tiny little bit. And then, Bobby, I kind of want to come back to a little point over that. But for Pet Sitting, you are taking care of someone's dog, except their dog is a giant worm. And you are, I don't know, that's the game. It's not long. My playthrough took 10 minutes and it ended with the worm, me helping the worm escape. The worm was actually an alien. And when I looked out the window, I got sucked up by an alien spaceship with like its briefcase, like a silhouette of its briefcase, and the worm like floating into the sky. And it did a little wave, a little wiggle to me. And I thought, that's a great ending. You're like you're feeding it, and then you're taking it to bed, and your body is moving really slow, and you have this disgusting worm in front of you, and it's like first person, and it's looking at you in the face. And you ever zoomed in on an ant and realize how fucking scary ants are, and like every insect? That's what this worm is in your face. And then it just takes a bite out of your chest, and I'm like, ah. But Bobby, I don't know if your playthrough went different or.
I got the same ending as you. Oh, okay. I didn't realize there were multiple endings until you told me that. But yeah, it's a very simple game. That's it. Your friend says, hey, I'm out of town for the night. Can you feed my dog? And the dog turns out to be a giant worm. So you feed it, you give it a bath, you go to bed. It wakes up in the middle of the night and starts talking to you. And then you help it get abducted by aliens. Like, that's the game. And
that's the game, folks. Yeah.
It's like 10 minutes or something. But it is, when you play a game on Itch, your expectations are not super high, right? Because you know that these are like very, very indie developers, or they're, just people who are doing this on the side. So I noticed this, like when I went to film school, like we would always make videos and we'd watch them in class, and the expectations are low. And so like when someone makes something really cool, like you're very impressed, because it's like we're all amateurs, right? And I think it's kind of the same vibe with itch.io. I play these games and I'm not expecting a whole lot. So when there is something there, I'm pretty impressed. Or even, like just getting a game to work. I think that's got to be like something to be proud of. Like if you're just starting out with game design, I don't know. How do you guys feel when you play these games? Like, are you just like, oh, I don't know, the graphics just aren't that good here?
No, bro. What? That would be insane. Sorry, Amanda, you go. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, so I guess a little bit of a side. So while I didn't get to play a game specifically for this podcast to talk to us about Itch, I've always loved I like scrolling through Itch. I like seeing all the different like games that are there and the wide variety of creativity. It was that kind of game that made me fall in love with like the industry itself, like when I was younger, because I was obsessed with video games and, I was like, oh, Final Fantasy. But when I discovered like, okay, have you ever heard of Nita Freeman and her little game called How Do You Do It?
No.
Okay, well, it was, okay, so it's very much it might even be on itch.io, but it was, she designed it's going to a little crass maybe, but she has, it's kind of taken her experience as a little girl, and when you play Barbies and you wonder, how do people have sex? These are normal things that, children probably think about. I mean, I know I did when I was little and played with Barbies.
My Barbies were fucking for sure.
Oh,
I had some
yeah,
Barbies.
Right.
Yeah.
And you basicely take these naked dolls and you mash them together a few times. You smack them together before your mom comes into the room.
Yeah.
And it's like weird. It's like very innocent, but also like I feel like it was a kind of a story or like an experience of my own life that never was like relayed anywhere else in the world, right? And I was like, here's a video game telling like a personal story, and kind of made me like sit back and like appreciate the medium in an entirely different like way than I had ever done. This game came out like years ago, like I think it predates Itch, to be honest.
Right.
But that was when I started to like really get invested in the medium of video games as like, a way to tell personal stories, and stuff like that is on Itch, and I think that's a wonderful place for that to exist. I never am afraid to touch these games, or I think I probably went off on a tangent here, but I do not mind when they are weird or, have no like strange graphics, or you have a giant worm for a dog. Like that sounds scary to me. So I actually like looked at that photo and was like, I don't know, like this, I saw the screenshots and I'm like, this looks a little spooky, but it's not because it was bad graphics or just totally bonkers. But yeah, long story short, absolutely. I'll play almost anything.
I think that's a great personal story. I feel like for me, as a kid, my parents' credit card was a very guarded resource. And if I wanted games, I would have to pirate them, which I later learned how to do. But in the early days, it was all about Flash games. And I joined, I don't know if you remember the like Stickman game. There's like a community of like animators and developers. I forget the exact forums, but essentially I got deep into reading that. I never contributed or anything. And it was the first time I was like, oh, there's like, I don't know, as a kid, it's like other real people made what I'm playing, like that moment of like, oh, this is so cool. And they're talking about making it. And these games are very accessible. I mean, they're Flash. You can play them right on your browser. And so when I was scrolling through Itch, even though a lot of these are like low graphics or low scope, to me, it was like a playground. I was like, oh, finally, yes, I'm back. Like I haven't seriously checked out Itch ever. So yeah, it was
You're
great.
on the Newgrounds.
The Newgrounds
Flash game forums. And you've clicked on the button you probably shouldn't be in that part of the internet.
Yeah, that was a different education. Being a kid, it's all wild. Anyways, Amanda, so what have you played on Itch that you wanted to talk about today?
Okay, well, I figured I'd shout out the games I've actually played off of Itch because let me just dial it back here. In 2020 and then 2022, they had two incredible bundles, like truly like bundles that I mean, I don't like to be like, buy your games and game bundles or whatever, but they had one for during the Black Lives Matter movement. They had a really big one for like justice and stuff like that. And it was like literally almost the who's who of indie games at the time was in this bundle. It was like 100. I have 159 pages worth of video games like that came from this bundle.
Wow.
I haven't even, so like I gave them a big donation, and I was like, this is an obscene amount of video games for this price. And then in 2022, they had a Games for Ukraine bundle, which was also very similar. So like these wonderful, I should probably donate to good causes without getting video games in return. But,
but it's nice to get the game.
It's nice to get video games. Yeah. And it was wonderful. And so out of those two, one of the games I had been dying to play for a really long time and that I love, you've probably heard of A Short Hike, right? You've all played A Short Hike?
No.
Or no?
Not.
Please tell us.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay. A Short Hike is truly wonderful. It is a 2-hour experience. And it is literally you're this little bird and you are camping with your aunt and you need to make a phone call, but you are out of service. So you have to walk to the top. You have to take a short hike to the top of the hill so you can get cell phone service. You're a little
taking
bird.
A bird
walk? So everything's kind of, you kind of look like a little Animal Crossing bird. You kind of, everything's really cute. But it looks like PlayStation 1 era graphics or Nintendo 64, that kind of polygonal, grimy kind of little look, but with pastel colors. So it's very pleasant. It's very beautiful. You can literally just walk right up the hill, take the short hike and you're done. Or you can, there's lots of little characters who want your help, like, hey, you could go like a speedboat race. Like there's like lots of little things to like dawdle around and do. It's still a very short game, but it's truly incredibly charming. And it was kind of a big deal when it came out.
It's weird that you guys haven't played it.
And I know. Like, what are you guys doing? This is not about podcasts about video games?
Right. Some terrors. Jesus.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. But no. It's really, really good. And if y'all ever have like 2 hours, like totally play A Short Hike. It's such a charming little thing that it made me like, it was also one of the games where I was like, I should make a game. Like it just it feels like a fun way to tell a little story. And then the other game I played is probably one of my favorite games I've never finished, and it is called Crosscode. Have you heard of this game?
No.
Okay, so this game is also an indie action RPG, I guess is a good way to describe it. And it is kind of like set in like an MMO. Where you are like a little avatar, and it's still kind of anime-esque looking, but it's all 2D graphics. It's all beautiful pixel art throughout, though, and you're kind of just. I think there's like a larger mystery at hand. There's a lot of like allusions to the world outside of this MMO, but you are everyone in the game has everyone in the story has a human playing their little avatars, but you are a avatar who does not have a human, like you are an AI who's, operating on your own and nobody knows. It's a secret. You shouldn't be that. That's like not a good thing. Right. So you're kind of like trying to navigate through this world without having folks know the secret of you. I'm sure there's probably, I loved every single minute I've played of this game. It's so fun. It's so like, it plays really well. Like it just feels good to play. Not only does it have a cool story, but it plays well. But I've only played it on stream, and I just haven't ever gone back to it on stream because it was always on a bonus stream. And so I'm like, I just want to play this game by myself without these goons listening to me. Just kidding, I love my community.
They're not listening to this. Hey, you can
but sometimes you just want to just sink into a game, and that was one of those games where I'm like, okay, no, I want to just spend time with this, but I don't love playing games on my PC for a long time, so I keep meaning to buy it like for one of my consoles. So I haven't yet.
I remember in Star Wars Galaxies, you could see how long someone has, if you added someone to your friends list, you could see how long they've been playing in a row for. I imagine this AI is like 2,300 hours. People are like, hey, dude, you ever close this game? Nah, I don't close. Nah, I just kind of keep it open.
She does have to make illusions about going back to the real world a lot. And like, it's very interesting. It's been a really long time since I've played it though too. So if I've like got this code totally incorrect, I hope I'm not wrong. But
well, yeah, I hope by doing this episode and by talking about these like shorter games, we give ideas for what people listening can can try out. I mean, both these games sound wonderful. I think I would love to play both of them. Thank you for bringing them up. Oh, did you want to mention anything else about these?
Nope. I think that's everything I pretty much have. I'm just thankful that you made me actually log into my Itch account for the first time in a really long time. Do
you get like points or something, or is there like?
No, it's just I have games on that account that I just have forgotten about. So when I re-logged in, I was like, huh, there's a lot of video games here I should mess around with.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, cool. So this week I played a game on Itch called Waterworks, and this game reminded me of two things: that single player board games, which I think are fairly rare, are awesome and deserve to take up your time just as much as a video game, and also that learning games that are done with like a deep research and care to how they present things, even if it's not one-to-one. Learning games are awesome, and it just reminded me this game kind of like, type to learn growing up in school. Of that's like a really a learning game to teach kids how to type, and you're going like a little RPG adventure. Or there was also like a platformer one. You could like jump around typing like as fast as you can. The higher your words per minute were, like the more things you unlock. Anyways, a cool way to gamify learning is what this game brought. So it's a card-based historical strategy game about managing the water supply through time in the medieval town of, I don't want to say it, Poland. It's a medieval town in Poland. And I think if you guys are looking at the show notes, I want you to try and pronounce the word starting with G that is this town, Bobby.
Oh boy. So I'm sorry to all our Polish listeners out here. I'm going to go with Grudziads.
I think that's pretty close, Bobby. Amanda, do you have a guess?
Okay. My show notes I do not have them on me, and I keep trying to open Discord to open the show notes, and Discord's not opening, so I can't read them.
Okay, we're on Amanda's setup. We learned in the pre-show is kind of on stilts today, so yeah, we don't want to poke with fate. And this is where it's super embarrassing for me because I wrote down phonetically in my notes what it sounds like, and I must have copied over them, or they no longer exist. So you know what? I don't know how to pronounce this either. Let's go with what Bobby said, Grudziads or something. Anyways, it's this medieval town built by the Teutonic Knights, which were a group of people in modern day Poland, and this is one of the first places in that part of the world that had a working water supply. So you start in the 1200s and you go to the 1700s, and you're kind of progressing along the history, but really it's like a perfect puzzle game. There's like a grid of 10 homes, and basically you start off, every home needs one water, and every population in every home needs one water, and then every turn you add more population to your town, and you have to then somehow add more water. You draw water from a nearby well, you unlock pipes, you unlock deep bore wells, you unlock pressurized water systems, sewage systems, big wagons with water on the back. It's awesome. And the whole time they have like these little historical pop-ups talking about what is going on. So like, I don't know, it's been a long time since I've played a game that feels so like a puzzle game that feels so purposefully designed, because I was never like caught out, right? I was never like, oh, I can't progress because I didn't make the right decision. But at every turn I was like, oh my God, I need to make the right decision, but that's not accidental. That's good game design, right? Like I'm progressing at the pace that was meant for me to progress at. I'm learning and I'm having a fun time. The onboarding of the more complex pipe and pressure mechanics is really nicely overlaid onto the basic like what the game is. And it just is so simple that I think it would make like a perfect single player board game, which is why I think, we shouldn't overlook, you sit down at your computer and you play a game and you have an experience, and that's awesome. But there's all these, if you go to your local game shop, there's all these single player board games just waiting for you. And usually they're pretty simple, and usually they're really fun. And it's just like, I don't know, that's a part of my life that I no longer buy or rent these, but there was a time where that was like one of my favorite things to do. So it was a nice little reminder that these sort of experiences exist.
But a single player board game, you have to clean up after.
Yeah, you just can't X on Steam. That's true. Yeah, me and Rianne got it's not a single player game, it's a 2-player game, but it's Dwarf Romantic, the board game. Have you guys all played the Steam game Dwarf Romantic?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I haven't played it, but I know that game.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of hexagonal tiles and you're trying to fit them together all beautifully. Anyways, the board game is really fun, but the cleanup, there's like so many pieces. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. All right. So my other point is learning rules, guys, learning rules. And water management, I've learned, is the coolest thing in the medieval world, I think. So this little town was built on a hill, a good defensible position, of course, by the knights when they first built it. But after the Teutonic Knights kind of went their own way, I think they were wiped out. The town continued to flourish, and getting water up this hill was super challenging for the people that actually, needed water. So because of, maybe Bobby, this goes to your point, because of the creative circumstances of the environment, they invented pressurized pipes and a water wheel and really strong people to take big containers of water up the side of the hill. And I think it's around 600 pages, the research essay about the history of water management in this town. And then the guy who made that essay also made this game. So it's, I don't know, like his hobbies must have combined perfectly. He's like, wait, I know a little bit about game development and a lot about water management in the medieval town of Gradges in Poland. Why don't I put these two things together and make a super fun game? And it's neat because coming into this, I knew nothing about medieval water management. I mean, I still don't know a lot of details. At the end of the day, it is still a game, and it's not like a one-to-one representation of the real life puzzle that the city builders in this time period went through. But I think what's interesting about games that are based on real life puzzles is it's like enough to turn a little key somewhere in the back of your brain where you're like, maybe I need to learn more about this. Like, you're just dipping your toes in the game and you're getting a lay of the land. And if you want to know more, the world is out there and this niche subject is awaiting you to discover it. So I think good learning games are structured like that. I think something like City Skylines maybe convinced a lot of people to look more into urban design. Maybe even playing the drums in Rock Band maybe convinced you to learn the real life drums or the guitar or how to sing. And that's the power of gaming, folks, and learning, okay? And that's what Waterworks did for me. So did you guys ever play Type to Learn, or is there a learning game? And, I talked about Rock Band, like it doesn't have to be like an actual learning game, but a game that convinced you to learn something in real life?
That convinced me to learn something in real life. Every time we bring this up, I always reference that Simpsons episode where Bart is playing a game, then he finds out like it's trying to teach him something and he throws it away. Because it's like, wait a minute, this game's trying to teach us something. He just like throws down the controller and walks away.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't have that reaction towards educational games. When I was very young, we had computer lab Fridays, and they would bring us in to a room full of Apple IIes, and then we would play educational games. This was mostly like Oregon Trail, but then also like Number Munchers or Word Munchers. This is going way back. But then there were a few of us that were like really into this, like they showed a lot of interest in just computers in general. So the teacher would show us like other games too. So he showed us Zork. That's not educational by any means, but that was like my first text-based adventure game. But just like that experience, I think, was like the beginning of my interest in computers and what I could probably attribute my entire career to. So I don't know. I think, the only reason I ever learned to build a computer was so I could play video games on it. And then, eventually that turned into like learning a lot more about technology, computers, the internet, and all that. It was all like in service of video games,
Yeah.
Like learn how to build a website for my clan on Day of Defeat, like everything was because of video games until, I got much older and started doing it for money. But
yeah, now you're Amanda's IT guy. That's amazing where your career can go. You have to listen to the pre-show to get that one, folks. Got to be a patron. Amanda, did you have any learning games or games that convinced you to learn?
Well, okay. So like if we're talking about the stuff I just played in like school, like when I was a little pando, I was really into Cross Country Canada. So everyone always talks about Oregon Trail, but there was a trucker game for Canadians called Cross Country Canada, and you had to drive like commodities from like, you know, across Canada to different places that required them. So like if some place needs potash, you'd got potash from, I don't know, is it Saskatchewan that gives us potash?
Oh, yeah.
Then, yeah. And then you bring it to PEI in Charlottetown, and now you're getting potatoes, and you got to bring that to, you know, like
that
you learn.
Sounds like my perfect game for me, by the way.
It's incredible. I think you can play it for free, like you can type in Cross Country Canada, and also like it taught you to not pick up hitchhikers, because sometimes you could pick up a hitchhiker and they would take everything.
No, not my potash.
Game over. Yeah. It was incredible, and I just loved playing it. Like even like past the like I would like beg to stay in for recess so I could just go on the Commodore and play Cross Country Canada. It was so good. Nice. But one other thing I thought about too is when I was, so it's kind of like the reverse. When I was in university and I was like really taking a lot of history classes because I just liked it. So I just kind of, you know, if I had an elective, I'm like, I'm going to take history. But every time I was in this one history class, my professor just reminded me of Civ, like civilization. And I was like, I'd be like sitting there and he'd be talking about like, you know, a battle in, you know, Russia or the something. I don't know. He would talk about stuff and I'd be like, I want to go home and play Civ right now. I need to play Civ right now.
Yeah.
And I would get so excited because he'd be talking. I'm like, oh, I know them. Oh, I know that guy. He's the leader of a Civ race. And I would go. So I've always loved lining up like my knowledge with something. And I guess in the other sense too, when I played Assassin's Creed 2, I got really into the Italian Renaissance. I had no idea. I knew the Italian Renaissance was good.
Right.
I didn't know.
It was the place to be.
I didn't know how good it was. And it actually inspired me to actually get really into history because I played Assassin's Creed 2 prior to going back to university as a mature student. So I was like, I want to know more. I was an idiot in high school. I didn't care about any of this stuff. And now I'm a mature young woman who cares. So thank you, Assassin's Creed 2.
Thank you, Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, for making me have an undying love for history and
Italian Renaissance.
And the Italian Renaissance, Every time someone goes, I'm like, you went to Florence, right? El Duomo? I climbed that.
Sweet. All right. Well, now we're going to open it up. Just, I don't know, our general opinions on Itch, like using the platform or what it made us feel or think. And Bobby, start us off. Like, you load up itch.io, you don't spend a cent. And how's your time? What stands out for you?
Well, I never really used Itch very much in the past unless there was a reason to. So I can't remember what game it was, but there was a game that I had read about somewhere and I wanted to play it. It wasn't on Steam. It wasn't anywhere that I could find it except Itch. So I remember getting it there. And then I couldn't find that game in my library. So I think what happens is what I'm starting to realize is that games can actually disappear off of Itch. I don't know how that works if you buy a game. I tried to do a little research on this and I saw all sorts of like forum posts and I got a little confused. So I was like, whatever. But didn't want to dig too deep into that. But basically, suffice it to say, like, just because you get a game on Itch, I guess the developer could just like take it down and it could disappear. Now, I think what happened with this particular game is that it eventually was released on Steam. It went through the early access process and probably went to like a full release. And then they no longer needed to leave it on Itch or I don't know. But yeah, I realized that. Also, of all the games that I played, every single one of them, my computer did not like. It was like, whoa, wait a second. You sure you want to run this? This looks a little strange here. And, you know, that's for an obvious reason. I mean, a lot of these games people are just making on their own and they can't really afford to get like a code signing certificate. So, Windows is going to pitch a fit about it, which for most people I could see, or some people, they might be like a little concerned about that. I mean, that happened to me when I ran, what's that game I hate? Tarkov, the first time. Right. It did the same thing. So I don't know. That's not really a big problem for me, but I could see it being a little weird for some people. But this is what's really cool. Apparently now you can just play a lot of these games right in the browser. You don't even need to download them.
Yeah.
Like Roulette Night, played that in a browser. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, can we throw it back to Roulette Night a little bit? I want to know like what specifically, like why did you latch onto that game? Like, I don't know if we really explored like what you really found fun about it.
It was like the mechanics, really.
Yeah.
Because it does what I do, what I love when video games do. It boils down like a concept to kind of like the bare minimum. It lets you like say, okay, I'm going to take on a lot of risk by loading 3 bullets in my gun here, but I'm going to buy a gun that can hold, instead of a 6-bullet revolver, I'm going to get one that has 9 in it. So it's actually 3 out of 9. My odds are a little bit better. Plus I'm going to increase the stat where I got like 25% chance to misfire. But then on the other side, I'm going to make it so like the bullet does more damage and higher crit damage. So then I get more rewards. It's like a really, it lets you like twist the knobs of risk versus reward in a very like matter of fact on the surface level, like that you can see right there. So I really enjoyed the mechanics of that game. Now, after I read some of the comments on it, apparently there's an ability or a perk that you can get where, I think it gives you a chance to see where the bullet is going to be or which one's going to fire in the gun. And everyone said like, you have to get that to beat the game. It's almost too easy once you get that ability. So I guess they need to tune it a little bit more, but still a really good game.
Nice.
Yeah. You know me, I'm all about the mechanics.
Right.
But I think what I realized about Itch, and again, I had always kind of thought of it as a storefront, and okay, that's just like where people who are maybe not devs but are trying to get into it, they put their games on there, or really small indie teams, like maybe they put their games on there. But I just thought it was a storefront. It's really like a community. There's a lot of communication happening on this site. Not just that, but they sell assets too. So if you're trying to like create a game, you can go into their asset shop and they've got like everything. They got UIs, they got large packs of like characters and animations and like all the stuff you would need to put a game together. I mean, you could just go on YouTube and then buy some stuff off of there. And like, I could probably build a game with like no prior knowledge of having done this before.
Let's put it to the test. Next episode, Bobby makes a game.
My game.
Yeah. Me and Amanda will play it. We'll judge it.
Roulette Night 2.
Roulette Night 2.
It's got a machine gun this time.
You got a machine gun. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's a little overwhelming because there's so many games on this site. And at first I sorted by the most popular ones because I just want to see what everyone else is playing. Pet Sitting was up there. We played that one. But I noticed kind of a trend in the popular games. It was a lot of visual novels and a lot of like psychological horror games. And I'm not too interested in either of those. So I started playing with the filters and looking for different types of games. And there's a genre that's just called Doom. Like that's it. And it's Doom mods, but also just games that are just like inspired by Doom. And right. I love Doom. The funniest one that I played was called The Gallery Experience. And you just run around a gallery and it's all like full Doom mode. Like it looks like a Doom game, except for a gun, you've got a glass of wine and you run around, you look at art and you collect cheese. And I was like, that's pointless, but I appreciate it. Like,
that's so good.
It is the gallery experience. But I really like that they have a filter for average session length.
Right.
And
yeah.
You can dial that down to a few seconds or like 15 seconds, something like less than a minute or 4 to 6 hours or longer than that, which, I mean, what I appreciate about a lot of these games is they're very short. They don't overstay their welcome. They're not trying to like hook you and sell you on a bunch of microtransactions, get you to buy the loot boxes or anything like that. They're just
this isn't like the Schneider cut of, this not respects your time. Yeah.
This is like Adult Swim, like 10 minutes, hope you're high. There you go. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, that was kind of my impression of Twitch. This is really the most time I've spent like in the platform or on the website ever. Like,
and I notice you keep saying Twitch. This is the second time you said Twitch.
Itch. Okay.
Itch. Okay. I'm just making sure because maybe you were on.
Well, you can fix that in post, right? Just cut the out. Not a problem.
No. That's the best part of. No. That's great. Cool. Amanda, what was you went back, you looked at your profile, and I don't know, what stood out for you, if anything?
Boy, do I have a lot of good games to play.
Yeah.
So the thing with Itch, now I'm doing it. The thing with itch.io. Okay.
Itch.io.
Itch.io. Okay.
Itch.io.
Jolly good itch.io, my friends.
It's an itch.
My favorite thing about, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
This is a serious podcast.
Yes.
Itch.io is, okay, do you remember, I don't know, are any of you like regular Reddit users? You don't have to admit that if it's embarrassing, but I do. I love Reddit, okay?
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
But when I first went to Reddit, I was like, God, this is the ugliest site I've ever seen in my entire life. Why would anyone utilize Reddit? It is the worst. And now I spend way too much time on Reddit. It's a problem. I get the same feeling, it's not as ugly as Reddit, but Itch is, very bare bones. It's there to serve a purpose, and that purpose is serving up video games. Also, it is a website. It is not an app on my computer. And as I was looking through all of the video games that I possess, I was like, man, I kind of wish this was on my Steam right now so I can remember it's here. Which, I live the DRM free life, baby. That's the beauty of Itch. Right? Yeah. Like, you're free from the shackles of the man. But sometimes the convenience of everything being in one spot is nice, and I have to take extra steps to get to Itch, and I guess I could subvert that by putting it on my bookmark bar, and then but then you download the games and they're just kind of off on your desktop,
they're just
or
floating
in your
randomly
folder.
In my C drive. Like, what?
Yeah, it's like, what is this, 1998? I don't know how to work at that.
Yeah, it pops
anymore.
Up. Do you want a shortcut icon on your desktop? You're like, God, no, I don't click on
I
those.
have to open folders again. Like, do you have to reformat my PC too?
Yeah, geez, this is disgusting. Yeah. Well, GOG has that game importer, and it imports from Steam, whatever the hell EA is, Origin, is they calling it? Right.
It used Origin. To be Origin. Now it's just EA thing. Something.
EA Sports. It's in the, anyways. It imports from all the sites, and I'm wondering if GOG is like the launcher. If it would be cool if they had from Itch.
This is really weird that you brought that up, because I literally just downloaded the GOG launcher.
GOG? You're gogging?
Yesterday. Because I bought Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines to play on stream.
Okay.
And they have the patch the fan patch pre-installed or whatever, which I learned yesterday that actually it's not. And I got blocked, and it was really a terrible scene. But I downloaded this launcher, so maybe I'll have to investigate further, because if I could import my library
maybe
from
that's
the internet, then perhaps that is something to do.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So, on Itch, what struck me is, like, unlike Steam, you open up Steam, they hit you with the store. And not only do they hit you with the store, they hit you with pop-ups for the store. Hey, this is on your wish list, is on sale, or hey, this event is going on. If you close Steam and open it, that's the first thing that happens to you. But if you open Itch, it is like a feed, some sort of feed. I was like, what? I'm in like an algorithm feed of like what my friends on Itch are doing. And that is, if you type in itch.io, that is where it brings you, or at least that's where it brought me. And so I was wondering, Steam has a feed. Do you guys use this feed at all? I find per game, I find the feed useful. I'm like, oh, so-and-so got an achievement in Dune. Like, say we're all playing Dune together. It's like, oh, that's cool. They unlocked something with the Atreides level, whatever the hell. Or if I play a really old game, I can see who else has played it and kind of like how far they've gotten, which I think is cool on that mini feed that shows up. But there's also just like a feed in the back of Steam that I'm pretty sure no one so I'm asking, do you guys use it? Have you guys played around with that?
I didn't know it existed. Like, I've seen like you launch a game and it's like, these friends have played this game. I'm like, cool. That's, the extent of it.
Yeah. I remember when they started doing that, or at least when I started paying attention to that feed in Steam. I think they call it the activity tab or something.
Right.
It's got activity in it, but it shows you a lot. It shows you what games your friends have purchased. You can just like post a message on there, like it's Facebook or whatever. It tells you like what achievements they've got, what screenshots or videos or content. Like it's a lot of stuff. And I remember like 10 years ago, probably on this podcast, actually, like back in 2014, I said like, this is, they're going to compete with Facebook. This is going to be like a social network, but for gamers. Like, and I totally thought Steam was going to go that direction, but they did not. Nobody checks that feed. Yeah.
Yeah. I find if I filter by screenshots and videos, I just get to see everything my friends are posting in their games, like uploading to Steam. I find that like the most useful thing. I mean, I don't really care who buys a game or what achievements they got unless I'm like actively playing that game, but it is cool to see like people's video game pictures. Like if that could just be my Instagram feed, I think I'd be pretty set. Like that would be kind of cool. But it is on Steam. Like you don't have to go to the Zuck. You don't have to get zucked. I noticed on Itch, a strategy game or a puzzle game I played a lot of called Slipways had an 8-bit version on itch.io that's pay what you want. And the developer had a little blurb saying, hey, this is the exact same game that's on Steam. It's Slipways, just worse graphics. So if you want to buy it on Steam, you get the best graphics. If you want to play it for Itch, you get these 8-bit graphics. And I thought, that's so cool. And then I was looking through the comment history and I had it backwards. He started on Itch with the 8-bit graphics and then on his Steam release upgraded everything. And now the game I think is $24.99 on Steam, which is a price that I'd be happy to pay again and again and again because the game is so fun. But it is cool that this place exists for those people, and you can, some people still leave their games up. So it's just like far more accessible for areas of the world where like a video game's fucking expensive. Like maybe like a way greater portion of a lot of people's income than our income, and like Itch exists so that they can play games. I think is pretty cool, and in browser too. Like the ultimate accessibility. You just load it up, and you don't need whatever. You don't need your PC to be on stilts and Chrome and 1 million gigabytes of RAM. Anyways.
I bought a kickin' new pair of New Balance for $70 yesterday. And I was like, man, this is a deal. This is like the price of a video game. And my partner said, no, that's cheaper than a video game. And I said, shit.
Yeah, they're expensive, pricey. Yes. So cool that Itch exists, a place to test out your games. I think we had fun on Itch this week, right, guys? Did we? Amanda, especially.
Itch was bitchin'.
Itch was Itch was twitching. What? Hey, was that? Okay, I'm hitting the bumper button. What is our community up to? Thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon, especially executive producer Truthbringer. You just decide to pay a little bit extra a month, so we say your name every episode, and I hope it's not getting. I hope you're not tired of that yet. Truthbringer. The more I say it, the more uncomfortable I am. Maybe I'll stop. Amanda, would you be able to read these listener questions, if possible? Actually, sorry. Okay.
Yes, no, I did. I did pull them up because I did not want to not do this. So.
Okay. Start us off.
Okay. So the first one comes in from Warconius. I would say that's how you pronounce that. I love how you guys are taking a look at older games. I was also a big fan of C&C, that's Command and Conquer, and Red Alert, the latter being my favorite. What did you guys think about the jump to C&C Generals? I'm very excited that Tag is playing Masquerade. We'll definitely want an update without spoilers. There is a level in that game that I think is the very best in the history of gaming. Do you have a level from a game that you keep in high regard?
Well, this is interesting because you just played Vampire the Masquerade on stream, right, Amanda?
Yes, it was a very bad experience that I'm going to pretend is not indicative of the true experience. So no, I haven't really played it yet.
Okay. So C&C General. Bobby, do you have anything on Command and Conquer Generals? Did you end up jumping to that one?
No, I think I made my feelings about C&C very clear last episode. Once they hit Red Alert, I was not on board with all the changes they were making.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't play C&C Generals. I didn't jump back into Command and Conquer until much, much later. I think in one of the later ones where it had gone like full camp and it was just totally different. And then I was like, this isn't what I remember. So yeah, I don't have much of a extensive history with Command and Conquer, but I don't know. Maybe someone from our community has.
Yeah, I never played Generals. Amanda, did you play any of these games and then jump to Generals?
I've never touched Command and Conquer. I might have played a little Red Alert at one point back in the day, but I am not one for an RTS. They stress me out. I played all of StarCraft on God mode because I wanted to see the story.
That's great. A level from a game that I keep in high regard. This one is a cop-out, and I feel like I've talked about this before, so apologies. But in Halo 2, and only because I played it with my brother growing up so many times, where you are racing against the structure that you're on falling behind you. You're on the Warthog. There's some really intense music going. Chief, hurry. Chief, do the jump. You have like all these cool prompts, and there's all like the top level enemies are in your way and they're trying to stop you, and maybe they can flip your vehicle over, but really it's a time challenge and you're running over all these people. So I really like that level. Me and my brother played it about 1 million times. And a couple years ago, I rented an Xbox 360 from a friend, and we stayed up all night playing Halo 2 on Legendary. And when it came to that level, I was like, this is as good as I remember it being. Hell yeah. So that's the one that stands out for me.
All right.
How about you? But nothing comes to you guys? Some nerds. No, just joking.
I was letting Bobby go first.
Right.
All right. I'll be quick with this because I don't know if this level was as great as I remember, but Max Payne 3, back around the 2012, I would say, or whenever this game came out, NVIDIA had these 3D glasses and 3D monitor that you could get and play 3D games with it. And I had that, and I was like, this is great. And then I'd get like a headache an hour into a game. But Max Payne 3 was one of the games I would play. And anytime I wanted to show off the NVIDIA 3D vision, I would load up the level in the nightclub. That's a very flashy game too. Max Payne 3. I mean, it's Rockstar. It's got like that John Wick style, but before John Wick. So it was super cool. It starts off with this cutscene, and then he like jumps out of a window, and then he's shooting up a nightclub, and it's like this real big bombastic scene in 3D. So I would always load up that one whenever I wanted to show off the NVIDIA 3D vision technology.
Nice.
So I guess for me, it's hard because so many of the games that I hold incredibly close to my heart are all like RPGs, so they're not necessarily broken into levels.
Yeah
They're kind of like moments and stuff, right? But if I think of a game with a distinctive level that like sticks with me for all time, and it is the ending of Portal 2. I don't know if I'm going to spoil this to anybody. Is this spoiler?
Here's your warning.
Okay?
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Okay. But everything's flying apart. Like you've opened a hole in the roof and space is happening, and stuff is flying, and you're like, I am not going to survive this. things are going very bad and you're trying desperately to throw your portals anywhere. It's one of my favorite moments of storytelling through gameplay, because you're taught this whole game that white that's how you make a portal. You go on a white surface and you're desperate. You're like, you think you're going to die. And so I remember at that exact moment looking at the opened roof and like, the moon now. Like, I couldn't, I'll give it a shot, just for fun, see what happens. And that was it, I threw a portal on the moon and stuff pops off and I'm like, like I literally was like blown away. The way they taught that to you too, like it still felt like far-fetched enough where it wasn't the obvious choice. But, I don't know. I thought it was just really remarkable and a really brilliant way to kind of conclude that game.
Yes, that's a great point. I love that. I beat that game on acid in my friend's basement with a bunch of people. And so all I remember was laughing so much, and we were laughing so hard, couldn't tell you anything about what happened in the game. Unfortunately, I got to go back and play Portal 2. All right. Next question, Amanda.
Okay, so the next question comes from J. Beck Quest, and they want to know, what's the most awkward moment you've ever experienced?
Oh, God. Yeah, I saw this. I thought I should prep an awkward moment. I don't have one off the hop. Do you guys, by chance?
There's a lot of awkward stuff that I've been a part of, but they haven't scarred me for life in a way. It's like stuff where I'm like, oh, that sucked, but hey, that's life. I don't embarrass easy anymore. So a lot of the cringy things that, I'm like, oh, that sucked. I don't, I don't know. I just have fun, embarrassing stories, not quite awkward, but one time I wiped out on ice and I was walking with my best friend at the time and my sister, who should both care and love for me. And I wiped out on ice and they both lost it. Just hands on their guts, keeled over, laughing their asses off. And this guy came around the corner and he looks at them is this these guys are assholes. And he helps me up. He's like, are you okay? Meanwhile, my best friend and my sister are both just dying. And I'm like, great. Love it. Love this for me so much. So not probably the most awkward moment I've been a part of or, but just the first embarrassing story that I can really think that, comes to mind.
Yeah. I think kind of whatever. Growing up, I grew up in, I would describe it as a very religious setting, extremely oppressive. Yeah, I think that's the right word. Very little ability to express creativity or freedom as a human. And my parents were out of town. They were going for a wedding. And so these friends of the church were babysitting us. And at their house, they had... I don't remember. Maybe it was 8 or 9, but they had a Sears catalog, and I had never perused through the Sears catalog. And so there's maybe 15, 20 kids in this house, and I'm in the corner with this Sears catalog, and I get to the bra section, and I'm like, what? I am a young person reckoning with a form of sexuality that I've never even known to be possible. And I'm flipping through the Sears catalog and my mind is being blown boobs. This is the first boobs ever for me as a kid. And the person babysitting me realizes that I have the Sears catalog, and she takes the Sears catalog, and I still remember she smacks me across the face with it like a heavy Sears catalog. And she said, don't you ever look at that again. And then this is a dark story. This is drama. And we went to church. We had church once a month because our denomination was so rare that we had traveling priests that traveled around the world, and we would pay for them to stay in a hotel and then do mass for us. And so the following month I went to church, and at church, the first thing that opens up church is confession. Everyone confesses their sins. And so I go to the confessional and I confess that I looked at the Sears catalog, and I'm the last person to go to confessional out of maybe 30 people. And the month before, or maybe a couple months before, I had hit my brother on the head with something. And I got 10 Hail Marys, which is a prayer you say, and a lengthy-ish prayer, but you do the beads on the rosary, 10 Hail Marys. And I remember I got something like 139 Hail Marys for looking at the Sears kettle. And so church doesn't start until everyone is finished their penance. Penance is what you do when you say these Hail Marys. So I'm sitting there alone saying the rosary out loud, doing an untold amount of Hail Marys. And I just remember everyone looking at me, and my mom even being like, what did you, like, she had this look on her face like, you must have really done something horrible. Anyways, this is my trauma, and I've moved past it, but that was probably the most awkward moment in my life. Yeah.
Wow. And now every time you see a Sears catalog, I bet that memory comes back.
Yeah, they don't make them anymore, I don't think, though, right? Like catalogs are over.
Probably not. Yeah, why would they?
Yeah. All digital now. Yep.
Well,
no one needs that book of sin in their homes.
No one needs that book of sin. They were banned Canada-wide. No more Sears catalog.
I mean, we live in Alberta, so I'm...
That's true. Yeah, that book ban coming in. That's fucking crazy. All right, next question. Sorry, Bobby. What's the most awkward? After I overshared
I almost got away. Yeah. Let's see, an awkward moment. There are a lot of awkward moments that at the time I didn't realize they were awkward because I was a child and I just didn't understand the situation. But then as an adult, I look back and realize how horribly uncomfortable that must have made everyone. So one night when I was very, very young, my family and I were watching a movie, and we loved John Candy in my house. From Canada, I'm sure you guys know John Candy. Maybe
who? No, of course I met him.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking.
So the last movie he ever made was called Wagons East. I think he died before it came out. And it's like a Western, but instead of going out west, they're heading back east. And typical goofy comedy with John Candy. But among their party in this caravan is a prostitute. And at one point in the movie, she mentions a blowjob. So like we're watching this and I'm like, I understand it's a joke, but I didn't understand what it was. So in front of my whole family, I asked my mom, what's a blowjob? And she said, I don't know. And I'm like,
and that was the end of that.
And looking back, I think she did though.
Yeah, maybe she did. Maybe she didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think of that. I'm just like, because it's always awkward when you watch movies with a family and there's always like a sex scene or something and it gets really uncomfortable. But as a kid, like someone just used a word, I didn't know what it was. So and I was always that annoying kid that had to ask a million questions during the movie. Like, what does this mean? What does that mean? And yeah, so I always think about that. That was an awkward moment, but didn't realize it till I was much older.
I think that's endearing in a way, though, too. That's just like, kids, they're going to ask what blowjobs are if they hear it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Next question.
Okay, this one is not a question. It is a comment from Dead Pet 7. I loved the map talk feature. More map talk, please.
I don't know if you guys can handle more map talk. We went maps off the rails last episode. Yeah. Amanda, last episode, we learned that map painting is a little bit of insult in the strategy gaming community. If your game is a map painter, that means it's such a basic game that the only thing worth doing is painting the map, the nation that you are in. So we explored our love of maps, and we learned that Bobby didn't really care for maps that much. So I don't know how much map talk we can have on this cast. Maybe Bobby will leave us. I don't know.
Not much of a cartographer. That reminds me, I used AI to make an image of Bob Ross painting a map, and I forgot to post that in Discord this week. But I feel like the timing's off. Can't post it now. The joke's gone.
Oh, you were doing it for the meme, and now it's just awkward. That is your most awkward moment, dude. Plus you used AI for it. Embarrassing. Yeah. Okay. Bobby, what's the plug this week?
The plug this week? Well, we got some birthdays coming up. Both of you are having birthdays soon. Everybody's having birthdays.
Me? What?
Me?
Yeah. September.
What are you guys doing for your birthday, by the way? How do you celebrate?
Okay, so I was thinking about renting an Airbnb, and I have this striped shirt that I really love. It's one of my favorite shirts. Amanda, have you seen me wear this striped shirt before?
I think so, because when you wore it, you said, "Wow, I love this shirt. It's my favorite shirt."
And then Bobby knows obviously the shirt I'm talking about. But I get so much shit for this shirt when I wear it out, because I wiped out on my bike with it, and now it's like half torn in the back, and it was already a little short on me. So it's time to go. And so I thought, I want to celebrate my birthday. I want to invite all my friends to do a biking brewery tour in Calgary. We're going to stay at this Airbnb. The theme will be you have to wear some sort of striped shirt. And at the end of the tour, I will burn my shirt. I'll probably just throw it in the garbage, but it will be sent off to Valhalla or wherever burned shirts go. So that's how I would like to celebrate my birthday. What are you doing, Amanda?
Well, last year, I was very ill for my birthday, and because PAX is always the weekend before my birthday, or it's on my birthday. So either I'm celebrating my birthday at PAX, or I'm terribly ill from the PAX box.
Right.
And last year was a milestone birthday. I hit the big 4-0, woo, but I didn't get to do anything for it.
Right.
You know, I kind of just sat at home being sick. So this year I was like, I know it's not the milestone. I know we're hitting boring 41, but we're going to go to a really nice restaurant. And then afterwards, we're going to go to like in one of like the really nice places here. You know, it's a really nice Italian restaurant. And then there's like a really trendy little cocktail bar that makes truly the best espresso martinis I've ever had in my entire life. And I know that all sounds really basic and boring and whatever, but everyone gets to buy me stuff. So I'm going to take advantage of it, and I'm going to have a good time.
And, you know, it's never too late of a milestone to go to the old spaghetti factory. I'm glad you're going to that really fancy.
You know it.
You know, okay, one time I was going to visit Bobby, or not just Bobby, but visit San Diego, meet up with Bobby, and we were talking about a place to eat, and he's like, man, you got to try this place, Old Spaghetti Factory. Do they have those in Canada? I was like, yeah.
In every major city.
Yeah, if you look at the menu, it shows all the places that they're at. They're all over the world, apparently.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. Sweet.
Get some garlic.
Was it also like in like a historic building in San Diego as well?
Yeah, they left and then they rebuilt it many years later. But yeah, it's in like a very old building. But they also have another one that's not too far up north. Like we kind of have two in San Diego.
We have two in Edmonton. We have one
really
downtown. Yeah, downtown, and one like old brick, and a one in, of course, West Edmonton Mall.
Right,
baby.
got everything. Gotta get everything there. Let's go.
Biggest mall in North America.
Yeah. Oh, Amanda, Bobby was gonna come up to they won't let him in the country, basically, this guy. So he hasn't been able to experience our culture, especially West Edmonton Mall. He hasn't been able to.
You know, we can make fun of West Edmonton Mall all you want, but it is wonderful in the wintertime when you can't move around outside because it's minus 40, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go walk around the mall for a few hours because it's big enough to not be.
Do they still do the penguin walks since I've moved away?
I was just there yesterday, and they had the sea lions were out doing things, and I'm like, I'm going to look at these sea lions for a while because I can.
Yeah. It's not just a mall. There's like a roller coaster in it and everything. It's pretty cool.
The roller coaster's gone, actually.
Really?
Well, they took out the one that everyone died on in 1987, and they're going to put a new fancy something. So I hope they put another like indoor roller coaster there. I mean, they have like two little roller coasters in the mall.
Oh, they just
sorry, this is not a West Edmonton Mall podcast. I'm going to stop talking about my weird.
It could be.
I do have a weird fascination with our mall, so I'll stop.
I love that Bobby said he was going to be able to sneak into Canada. Looking forward to it, sir. Okay, my name is Christian. Joining us today was Amanda and Bobby. Next episode, guys, it's time for my quarterly update. I'm going back into Mass Effect. Still trying to romance the Krogan. I'll let you know how that goes next episode. Amanda, what's playing us out today?
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm not prepared to tell you what's playing us out.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
But I'm going to do it right now. This is... Just to wait to the
dramatic pause.
Tell me to wait to the birds.
Oh, the birds. Oh, no. Keep going. Sorry. I confused you. Yeah.
Okay. The main theme of Ken Follett's Pillars of the Earth. Goodbye.
And there's no birds either, which is kind of...
Well, I was waiting for the flutes.
Yes.
It's a trumpet.